Even the sudden withdrawal of the aircraft carrier Gerald Ford of the U.S. Navy from the battlefield, and the failure to provide military support to the tired and defeated American soldiers in the West Asian region, as well as their own internal conflicts, proved the fragility of the material power of the arrogant. This giant and military monster that everyone talks about is nothing more than a hollow paper tiger to the armed forces of Iran. The change of course of this aircraft carrier towards the American base and the attempt to avoid passing through the Bab al-Mandeb Strait, they raise the following question for the global and regional public opinion. Why should a $13 billion United States aircraft carrier fear a few fast boats worth only a few $1,000s from the resistance forces? He explained that such an unstable and precarious situation occurred exactly in recent days with another American aircraft carrier, the Abraham Lincoln, in the Indian Ocean. The soldiers of Islam, eager to see and deliver a hard slap in the face of the arrogant Americans, are waiting in the depths of the battlefield and are fully prepared to present their naval surprises up close to the American Marines. The fate of Saddam awaits Trump and the criminal Netanyahu. Entering the field for us does not mean defeat. God has closed the path of defeat for us. You see more than two paths before us. Both paths are honorable for us. One is the path of martyrdom, whose honor is eternal, constant, and inexhaustible, and the other is the path of victory. Both are considered victory for us, and victory comes only from God, the mighty, the wise.
The most powerful aircraft carrier in the world has left the center of the conflict with Iran. And this is already generating a strong wave of tension and dispute over the narrative. What happened? The USS Gerald Ford, the largest and most expensive warship of the United States, was temporarily withdrawn from the Red Sea after a fire on board. The fire started in the laundry area. It was not related to combat, but it took hours to bring under control and affected those on board. Dozens of sailors suffered from the smoke, some were injured, and parts of the ship's interior were damaged. In addition, hundreds of crew members lost their quarters and had to improvise sleeping spaces inside the vessel. When did this happen? The fire occurred on March 12, 2026, amid rising military tensions between the United States and Iran. A few days later, the decision was made to withdraw the ship from the conflict zone where this is happening. The USS Gerald Ford was operating in the Red Sea, a strategic region connected to the Middle East and the confrontation with Iran. Now it is heading to a United States naval base in Greece, in the Mediterranean, for repairs. How did this happen? The fire was caused by an internal problem in a technical area of the ship. Even without an enemy attack, the impact was significant. The ship, which was leading air operations, had to temporarily leave the war zone, and this opens up a critical point, an operational gap. Why does this matter? Because the USS Gerald Ford is not an ordinary ship. It carries more than 75 aircraft and is a key part of the United States military presence in the region. Its departure, even if temporary, reduces the immediate American power at that strategic point, and that's where Iran's reaction comes in. Right after the news, an Iranian military spokesperson made a direct provocation. He said that the withdrawal proves that the power of the United States is hollow. He called the ship a paper tiger and compared the fate of American leaders to that of Saddam Hussein. That statement was not by chance. It's part of a clear psychological warfare strategy. Iran is trying to turn a technical incident into a sign of military weakness. But here's the main point. Is this reality or propaganda? In practice, the ship was not destroyed, it was not attacked, and it is not permanently out of operation. Its main systems are still functioning, and the withdrawal is temporary for maintenance. In other words, it's not being withdrawn out of fear. But in modern warfare, perception weighs as much as fact, and Iran is exploiting this with precision, turning an internal problem into a political symbol. Now, the clearest and most critical point is that this could lead to an increase in provocations at sea. If Iran wants to sustain this narrative, it may test the limits with more aggression, especially in the Persian Gulf. Pressure on the United States. The tendency is to speed up the deployment of another aircraft carrier to fill the gap and avoid any sign of weakness or risk of escalation. In the end, it's not just about a fire, it's an intense battle of narratives.